Morning guys, week 3 report. Gonna run through some stuff, probably do a little bit of editing here, come back and forth, but show you some before and afters. But first haul of leaf clipping, or grass clippings I should say, from the neighborhood. Definitely gonna go pick more of these up today. I'll probably put about 20 bags down on the whole plot area, probably in the back by the tomatoes, because John and I did some weeding yesterday that I'll show you. Got rid of a lot of the stuff that was coming up through the original leaves and stuff we had put down at the beginning of the season, and gonna stake up some of the tomato plants, the small ones. Gonna do some watering first, soften up that soil so we can get those drove in pretty deep. But show you what we got. Peppers looking great. Look at that, we got one pepper coming in. Look at that bad boy, little miniature pepper. It's a red one too as well. We got some other ones over here. Look at those. Put a good dose of magnesium on the peppers this week. Hit it up in another couple weeks with another little dose. But as you can see, look at it. Aisles are clean. Looking really good. I got some hops coming up from last season that I put down, and once it got tilled in, it ended up like 10 yards further than where I actually put the hops in. This wind's gonna get me here, I know it. This water. What do I want to show you guys today? It's the oh wait, I know what I want to show you. So I did some pruning on these pepper plants. I know these ones are really small, because what I've had a problem with in the past for our peppers is they just grow way high and then they don't branch out like some of these do. So I've done some pruning on them, and I tested it out, did some there. So that's why they're a little bit shorter, but as you can see, they're starting to come flaring out to the left and right. So we'll see how well that works. They are getting pretty big though, I'll tell you that. Look at that. Garden's looking really good. Show you what we did to the tomatoes. I think after last week, we kind of weeded this all out, pulled out all the foliage that we put on there to cover it up to get it start going. So now I cleared. I normally do this with the vegetable area, or the lettuce and kale area with the onions on it, just because it gets too hard to manage if I leave all the coverage, like the dead leaves. Like I probably won't put grass on here. I'll just keep raking this and using the scuffle hoe to get the weeding out and the weeding done. So I'll leave this the way it is. I always do. After a while, I think maybe like after 1 or 2 more hits on it with the scuffle hoe, we'll never have to weed it again the rest of the year, because everything will just stop growing there. Pulled out some radishes this week, so look at this. This is awesome. I don't know if you guys can see this, probably bad shadows, but pull some radishes out. Looking really good, coming out of the ground. Look at that. Yeah, look at that bad boy right there. Radishes. So radishes, I've learned, because this is the first year I've grown them, I should have gotten more. They normally only sprout about 1 or 2 actual radish on each little leaf area, like the section. I'll show you like this, right? This whole chunk here is just 1 radish. Radishes will be done as quick as you feed them and quick as you get some water on them. Like we're talking like 3 to 6 weeks and you'll have a radish. What you want to wait is for the radish to get about 1 inch around, and then they're good. You can pull them, and they start coming out of the ground probably about 1 inch, right? Another thing is, if you leave radishes in too long, or if you like that kind of thing, the longer you leave them in, the spicier the radish will be. So if you end up with a very fat radish, or depending on the type of radish you have, it gets really tall and kind of like torpedo looking. The bigger they get, the spicier they get. So completely up to you. I know we like them fairly small. We started cooking the radishes, not these particular, but we will definitely. That's why we started growing them in a pan. Just cut them up, put a little olive oil in there, get them real nice, and then put a little bit of like honey or like a syrup or something in there and mix it up. It tastes really good. Basil's doing quite well. It came back from some of the issues we were having with it. Bunching onions looking great. Beets, yes, look at this. So the beets are doing awesome too as well. Again, another one. Should have planted a whole row of these. Never did it before, so next year, this is totally, I'm going to have a whole line of beets next year. I love beets. And we'll do radishes. And we'll do carrots, which we got carrots again this year too as well. Carrots didn't do well last year, so we'll see how these go. The tomatoes, yellow stuffers. Again, I talked about these before. These are a yellow tomato that has like a very hollow inside, more like a pepper. Not going to be really juicy. Going to be really like meaty around the edges and around where the skin area is. And they're made to like, well, hence the name, yellow stuffer. You stuff them like peppers. You cook them in the oven if you want to do it that way. You can do like a meatball inside of them and cook them, or you can do like a beans and rice inside of them and then cook them in the oven. But yeah, so our cucumbers, our pickling cucumbers, are doing phenomenal. I check them all the time, make sure they're doing well. The 4 Amish paste tomatoes that we have on here are just shooting up like crazy. I have 2 in each spot here. We may cut it down. I don't know. We will see. Beans are doing great. More tomatoes. These beans are doing awesome too as well. I think these are our Kentucky ones, and then on the other side of the pole is more of the pickling cucumbers, which will direct to climb up this trellis as well. Cantaloupe doing great. That one's doing awesome. That one not so awesome. That one's doing great. That one's doing great. And then we got our Cherokee purple here in the middle, which is doing very well. And look at the addition. We got our beehive. I'll show you guys. I'll do a video on the hive. Not real active this morning. It's still a little cold, so the bees are not out, you know, like in force. When it gets to be about 80 degrees, man, they just swarm all over. When it even gets too hot, they'll start to beard outside of the beehive. And I'll show you that later on in the season. But beans here looking great. I mean, I swear they're growing like an inch a week, if not more. Want to start seeing them start getting attached here and just start climbing. Pumpkins looking awesome. Pumpkins are another one that you have to watch, and this is exactly what we will be doing our like due diligence on all season long, making sure that squash bug that I talk about every single video does not get in there, because it will definitely ruin your crop. These are getting huge. We planted these a little early. I mean, it is what it is. We're gonna have some pumpkins early. And then we go back here, and these have blown up this week. Like last week, this was nothing. These cantaloupe here in the back are doing really good. I gotta do some weeding back here, but they are just killing it back here. What this is, I have no clue. John planted this one, and it is not a cantaloupe, so I don't know what it is. It looks more like a zucchini, but I'm not sure. All right, what else we got going on? All of our small tomatoes that we planted, probably, I don't know, a couple varieties over there. Our cucumbers, which we have whole row of cucumbers here, whole row of cucumbers here, and they're all looking excellent. Let me get to the other direction so I can get my shadow out of the camera area. Replace that one area right there with the tomato where the cucumber died, but look at that. Look at these zucchini. I mean, they are phenomenal. Look how big they're getting. Didn't start any of these from seeds, but did start these from the like one little itty bitty small 1 ounce cups. Check these every day. Have to. Again, I'm gonna give that warning about that squash bug. You can't let them get in there. And I've got other videos that show you how to look for them, what to look for. And I'll tell you really quick. It's always check on the undersides of the leaf. Make sure that the larvae are not attached to look like these little itty bitty grouping of orange or yellow pills kind of grouped together. Don't want to let those happen. Smash them if you can. They'll get on your finger. All right, video actually cut off, and I probably ran another like 6 or 7 minutes before I realized it. So we're going to go through some of the other stuff that I was going to talk about. Talked about those and getting those little squash bugs out there. But let's talk about our tomato plants. Doing really good. Tomato plants have made a great recovery from some of the ones that were doing quite poorly. I'll show you those up in the front. But show you a new thing I kind of strung up is basically a little bungee system for the tomato plants, where I've got a piece of elastic thread which is nice and springy, so it'll grow with the plant. There's a little bit of tension on there, so as the plant grows, it'll start to loosen up, and then I can untie it if I need to. Kind of just directs it in the middle or wherever direction you want to. And of course it's kind of like a loop knot, so I can direct this plant if it needs to go left or right in the middle. I'll show you how I tied this on here. So it's a really loose knot down there in the bottom. So I'm going to get a focus on it. It's got a lot of room to grow, so even if the plant does expand and get bigger, it definitely will not dig into it. It'll expand with the plant. And then I guess since we're right here, we'll talk about some maintenance with the tomatoes here. As you can see, right there is a sucker that we don't want, so we got to get rid of those. Pull those right off. This helps our plant not to branch off and turn into a bush and turn more into like a very tall growing plant. And there's quite a few on here. Did I not do this week? Oh, look at these. You gotta get rid of all of them. What you don't, yeah, you want to get rid of these. Man, I just have not been keeping up on this apparently. But yeah, I did some trimming down here. One at least, I got like 3 inches, no, probably like 5 inches off the ground where there's no leaves hanging down, so that they can't hang down the soil, to where when you water them, the soil will splash up onto the leaves where it'll cause it to brown, or there's possibility of fungus that can get on there. And if that does happen, like I see it a little bit right here, this might be just a bug. Clip them higher. Like, get this thing to grow upward. Don't let it just sit here on the ground and bush out. Let me see what else. Man, I got a lot of suckers on these. I got to take care of this. Yeah, so I got a majority of the tomatoes done. They'll all see I use this little system here, and hopefully it works well. Yeah, same. Really, really cool. And it will last the whole season. It's not going to be affected by anything like the sun. Won't dry them out or ruin them. Excuse me. And yeah, it works really well. The other thing I want to talk about is this is like a spongy, kind of like a rubber coated wire, and this wire is really thin, but it is bendable, and you can wrap it around the center of your plants. Like if you're trying to direct some growth to a certain area, or you want to adhere it to a pole or something along those lines, and give it a little bit of direction. It's a perfect piece of material to use. I'll show you. We only used it on this one plant so far, so just going to try it out for this year. All you do is, you can see right in the middle there, you just give it a little bend around the plant's middle section so you can keep it stable in the middle, and then do a wrap around the corner. What I'll do is, once this plant grows a little bit taller, we'll just then hook it to the next rung here and help that plant stay where it needs to stay. And let me tell you the reason I did this way. Last week we had a big thunderstorm, and it took all of our tomato plants and like folded them down on their side. None of them died, none of them snapped. I mean, it's nature, man. They know how to take care of themselves. But they were all sitting on their sides. So I had to move them back up. Soil loosened up, so it just had to pin them up like this now, and so we can get them to stay in spots. They will still blow with the wind. They won't become rigid with this little string on there, because it is elastic, and it'll just give it the freedom to do whatever it wants, but it will always recover. So another thing I want to talk about is the tomato cages. Some of these are getting pretty old. They're like 3 seasons or 2 seasons old, and want to start injecting the new ones. And man, look at these. I hate this because it drives me crazy. These rows are not straight, but we're doing the best that we can with what we got. Hops, look at that. So we got some hops growing through from last year, and these hops are actually planted way back here, I think. And through the tilling and everything in the season, it came up over here, and there's another one that came up kind of over there somewhere, but I think I actually cut it down on accident. Anyway, not going to get anything from this hop. I can already tell it's too small for this. It's just not going to do anything. We're not doing anything to support its growth either, but I'm not going to cut it down. I'll let it grow. Let's talk about some of the plants that we had that were eaten and see how they are doing. That's one of them. I'm not going to spend any time on that one, though. Let's take a look at the ones that were really bad. Oh, here's a good one. So, some little muncher got a hold of this bad boy right here when he was little. When we first put him in, I think he was way down here, and everything was eaten off of this one. So, got some new good growth from it, some offshoots. Let's get that sucker off there. But, yeah, they're recovering well. All of them are. Just want to get some height to them. I haven't done a lot of pruning to them because I want to see what was going to happen and how well they were going to grow. Got another one here, another one here, another one there. Then there's this one. I just took the cage off. Look how bad this one was. This one was eaten down right to almost the stalk, and there was nothing on it. But look at it now. Again, haven't done any pruning or anything to this to support any major growth to it. I think this one's going to suffer from being a plant that's going to bush out because of how it had its first start. But we're going to go in and start pruning some of this off here so we can get some more upward growth out of it, some vertical height to this thing. But that's what we'll focus on today, and maybe we'll come back with an update after we put all those out. I think this video is probably going to run into like the 20-minute mark, but I'm going to get all those small ones over there staked up too. Yeah, that's it. Maybe be back for a part 2. I'm not quite sure, but enjoy the video. See, the rows look better this way. It looked worse from the back. It doesn't irritate me as much. Oh, and we had one casualty, jalapeno down there. I accidentally ran it over with the hose and it snapped, but it's still got a decent amount of leaves on it, and knowing the jalapenos, this thing's going to grow right back where it belongs. Yeah, let's finish some watering, get that soil moistened up, and we'll drive some stakes in there, and then maybe we'll talk about our bees this week. So have a good one, guys. We'll talk to you later.